G'day guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back for another episode of Wasteland Survival. So in the last episode I completed the automation for the train, although I did have to kind of make a compromise when setting it up. So originally the plan was to use remote control blocks and for those to kind of detect a waypoint at each station and then basically perform a bunch of actions like reverse the train in the other direction after a set period of time. But I could not get it to work. So I basically reached out in the comments section and there were definitely a few suggestions to actually get that to work. Although I haven't really gone ahead and messed with that too much. So the compromise I made was by trying to use these sensors. Although, as you can see, the train is kind of stationary and not moving, so yeah, it's not really working as well as I had hoped. So yeah, it's a bit strange though, because I did test this out in my test world and it was working fine. So I don't know, I think maybe I have done something wrong with the sensor setup as well. So maybe at a later stage I'll revisit the train and then I'll mess around with the remote control blocks. So a couple of the things that people mentioned was with the remote control blocks, when you're actually controlling them, you can set a waypoint. So you can set the waypoint like that. The second thing is that the only way that they can detect waypoints is by setting them to be on autopilot. So yeah, there is that too. I think there was one other thing, although I can't really think of what that is at the moment. So anyway, what I really want to focus on this episode is I would like to get started on this silo. So obviously we have this kind of airlock, or I don't really know what you would call this room. I guess it is an airlock. From here, we're going to have our silo behind this door, although I don't think I would really like it to be, you know, smack bang right behind this door. I would actually like to have some sort of a, I guess you could say like a lobby of some sort. So we have a room that's like relatively short, probably about half the length of this room. So maybe like 5 or 6 blocks or something like that. Enough room so that I can basically place in one of these doors. So I believe, how many blocks are these doors? I think they're 5 blocks. So yeah, the room would need to be about 7 blocks long. Yeah, so 7 blocks, which is a little bit shorter than this room. So yeah, we'll have a room like that, although it will be slightly larger than this. And then at the end of that, I'm thinking we'll place a window. So we'll have a window, and that window will basically look over the silo. Now, the problem is I want the walls. So I'm going to leave the walls of the silo exposed. Now, when I drill out this room, that's going to end up directly connected to the silo. So I want to make these drills as kind of straight as possible. Here in this room, it didn't really matter. I can just take as much material as I want away. But where it kind of meets up with the silo itself, I want it to kind of all be perfect. So I am going to have to create a template for this. So like I said, I want the room to be bigger than this. So I think I want it to be 1 block taller and then 1 block further apart. So rather than there being 3 blocks in the middle, there'll be 5 blocks in the middle. And then also it will be 1 block taller. So rather than there being 1 block here, there'll be 2 blocks. But I do think I will just leave the floor flat. I don't think I'm going to have a catwalk like I've got here. So, alright, let me build a template so that we can get this drilled out. And then we can actually start building this room. Okay, so I went ahead and I created my template and I've gone ahead and actually dug all of this room out. I think this should be long enough, although yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see. I did make it a little bit longer than what I needed the room to be. So hopefully it will pop out where the missile silo is, or the kind of silo. It's not really a missile silo because it's not a missile, but yeah, you get what I'm saying. So now I just need to kind of put all of the outer blocks around the doors in, and then kind of like the window face. And then from there we can get the template of the silo attached to the side of that, and then start digging that out. And that is going to be a monumental task. There's going to be so much digging required for that. So yeah, I don't know if I'm really looking forward to that, but anyway. Alright, so let me turn this thing off and then we can get a better look at this. Okay, so there we go. Alright, let's start getting this thing laid out. Okay, well, the outside of the room is pretty much complete. It does look a little bit barren and boring, so there's definitely some things I think I can do to kind of dress it up a little bit. So yeah, I'm definitely going to go ahead and do that. Yeah, the only thing is though that I am running really low on steel plates. So if I have a look here, yeah, I've got 48 steel plates left in this ship, 211 here, and I think I've got about 500 left in this connector here, and I think I've only got about maybe 5,000 iron ingots if I'm lucky. So yeah, I'm hoping I don't need to do a mining trip to get this finished up, but I might need to do a quick cheeky little mining trip to, yeah, get that sorted out. Anyway, I think rather than trying to figure out a better design for this room right now, what I would like to do is actually get this silo sorted out, or at least its position worked out. Now, what I did is I went into creative mode and I actually played around with the design a little bit. So I had originally planned on going with like a 12-sided kind of circle. So yeah, I think it's almost as many sides as what that is in yellow. But yeah, I thought maybe that was a little bit too many sides, because the problem with having 12 sides is that each side is like shorter. So I wanted a decent viewing platform like what I have right now on the missile silo when you walk in this door. So in order to do that, I've had to reduce the amount of sides to 8. So that makes the sides longer, but I still think it's going to look pretty good. So anyway, I'm going to head over into creative mode and show you roughly what that's going to look like. Okay, so here we are in the creative world that I have been messing around with for a while. So here on the bottom you can see my original like 12-sided design. I think I mentioned that this amount of blocks spacing here was an even number, and that was kind of a problem as well. So yeah, I just felt, like I said, this amount of room here doesn't really give you a great viewing platform. So then I decided to try and make it like 8 sides. So you can see here I tried to make it 8 sides, and I think this one was like 13 blocks long, but it ended up being a little bit bigger than what I wanted it to be, and these blocks here weren't right. So this is the final product. So it's gonna end up being kind of like 1 block shorter than the 12 block one. It's a little bit shorter on this side, but overall it's almost about the same dimensions. So yeah, I think I'm going to go with this. And as you can see, I've gone ahead and built a nice little frame here. So I've created a blueprint just for this. I'm going to project that through the mountain, and yeah, so the next thing I need to do is I need to actually drill out the mountain to accommodate this whole frame. Now, since this frame, I'm pretty much going to have these blocks kind of in the mountain the way it is now. Maybe I'll change them to like maybe beam blocks, you know, and that sort of jazz. But what I need to do is drill it out. But in order to do that, I'm going to have to drill, like, let's say here. So when I drill here on this edge, or in the middle of, like, let's say this block here, then the voxels will be exposed up to about that point, and then that'll let these frames stick out just a tiny bit. So what I need to do is create a frame that goes on the inside of this frame, and that's going to be my drill guide. So that's going to be the next thing, and that's going to be massive because it's going to require me to go like 20 blocks high all the way around. So it's probably going to be like 1,000 blocks or something like that. Anyway, so I'm going to get started on that, and then we can finally start drilling this thing out. And let's hope that I actually have the amount of steel plates I need to do that. Okay, so here we go. And I've gone ahead and I've created the kind of drill guide, I could say. So the only problem is going to be these kind of sides here. So when you drill on this X here, and then the next one, it kind of lines up perfectly and you have a really nice wall. But the only problem is that these ones here are further apart. So I think I'm just going to have to maintain my own distance. I don't know. I'll just have to figure that out as I go. But if we go into the mountain, you can see that I've gone ahead and lined this thing up already. So we're kind of ready to start drilling, except for the fact that I need to push it upwards. But yeah, it's pretty massive. And I think this is about, I think it's about 20 blocks tall. Maybe it's a little bit shorter, I don't know. But yeah, so I think we've got to drill out probably like 60, 70 blocks worth of each of these. And yes, I am going to drill it out by hand, and I can already hear the cringe in the comments, but yeah, it's I want the walls to look nice, so yeah, it's really the only way to go. So alright, let's get started. Alright, and we are finally done. So for those who are interested, the time-lapse speed on this was like 11 times. So even though the time-lapse was, I think, about like 18-20 minutes long, yeah, this whole process took about 3.5 hours, if not probably closer to 4, given all the little trips back and forth to grab energy and change ships and things like that. And then, yeah, also the amount of time it took to actually build the template for this. So, yeah, I kind of wish I had have made some sort of contraption to build this for me. Although, to be honest, you know, it took me about 4.5 hours, I reckon, in total to get everything done. So, I don't know. Would that be enough time to build a machine to do this for me? I don't know. You be the judge. Also, I do know that there is a mod. I think it's the drill and fill mod. I do know that exists, and that is definitely something that you can use. Although, I find the walls, you get better walls when you do it by hand like this. Like, when you use the drill and fill mod, they're really wavy. I mean, yes, they aren't perfect this way, but they're not as wavy as they would be. They're kind of like this when you use the drill and fill mod. I mean, I guess my walls are like that in some spots, but yeah, they're pretty close to being perfect. So overall, I'm pretty happy with that. Alright, so I'm not going to do too much. It is a bit of a shame though that it's night time, because I would really like to see this in the daylight, just to kind of get a appreciation of its scale. So, I'm just going to quickly move this ship out the way, and I would like to do a little bit of work to this room just before I round out the episode. So, let me turn this around and maybe point it inwards so we have a little bit of light. How long have I got before the battery goes flat? 22 minutes. Alright, as long as we be quick, or as long as we are quick, it should be fine. Okay, so what I was thinking actually is, before we do anything else, is let's grab this skin, and I think I'll change this room to this skin, because honestly, this skin is just way more interesting than the other one. And yeah, there's a bit of voxel there that I need to get rid of. So thankfully I can get my mining ship in. So I need to make sure that I fix that before I go ahead and put the window in, because otherwise I won't be able to get to it. Okay, I think that's all the blocks colored in. Alright, let's grind these blocks out, because I think what I'll do is I'll put some beam blocks here, and that'll just dress the room up just a little bit. I don't really know what I'm going to do for the floor just yet though, so that's another thing. Oh, I forgot to weld these blocks up. Oh well. Actually, I don't think I did forget to, I just didn't weld them up because I just didn't have the steel plates to do so. Okay, so for this, probably going to make it this color. And then what I'll do is I'll grab the 2x1 bases. Actually, no, I'll grab a 2x1 tip, and then I'll place that there, and then the base above it. So we have something like that. So it's only just slightly sticking out of the roof, but enough so that... So is it this block, or it's this block, and then the other one? Yeah, this one. Like that. And then... Oh, wait, no, I messed up. That's wrong. Let's get rid of these two. And this one. And then this block probably needs to be a half block. So, we'll grab a 2x1 tip, and then some half blocks above that. Or next to that, I should say. So, kind of like that. And then, spin this around. And we have its counterpart like that. And then obviously I've got to go behind there and kind of seal that. So, that's going to be a little bit challenging though, because it is kind of close to the wall. And then outside here, so I'll grab this color. I'll fill these two blocks in. I probably will change the shape of this. Maybe make it something similar to what I've got where the control room sits behind the Nomad. But I still need to build some sort of a frame around this kind of a mountain, because I'm not just going to leave just a standard looking yeah, rock silo. I mean, it's got to have some sort of metal in it somewhere. And yes, I do have a seat upside down on the roof. Don't ask me why. Alright, I need some steel plates. Well, it turns out I can't really carry too many steel plates because I have like 20,000 hydrogen bottles on me because I got sick of refilling them. So yeah.
Inventory full.
Yeah, I didn't think that one through very well. Okay, so I'm going to place these there and then also there on this door. On the other side of the door. And yeah, then from there, I'm going to get rid of these 2 blocks here, and that is where my window is going to live. Okay, so that is pretty much everything done, obviously except for the windows. But one thing I realized is I never actually ran the conveyor system. I kind of had a bit of a mental blank in between episodes and realized that I think I probably got to about this stage here. So I need to extend this conveyor system all the way down to here, and then get myself some cargo, and I think at that point, and then put some connectors out here as well for the ships. Then at that point I think I can go ahead and start building the frame that goes with this silo, or at least, you know, kind of thinking about what the frame is going to look like. And I also need to fix the floor as well. Now, I did actually think of another idea on how to do this silo. If you were to do it by hand, if you're crazy like me and you want to, you know, punish yourself like that, what you could do is create the blueprint so that when you place it, the first block is in the middle. So then all you can do, or all you do, is you simply rotate the blueprint by 45 degrees so that the blocks with the X end up just shifting to the next side. So rather than trying to guess the distance you have to drill the next hole at, it's just, yeah, you just move it 45 degrees and then just drill the whole thing. So, you know, hopefully that made sense. If it didn't, let me know. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much all I got time for in this episode. Yeah, I do kind of apologize for there not being too much content in this one, but yeah, the sheer amount of work it took to do this was just insane. So anyway, guys, I really hope you enjoyed the time lapses, and I hope to see you in the next episode of Wasteland Survival. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.